All right, what's up, everyone? My name is Kim Woozy, and I am honored to be here today with froSkate. We have Karlie and Lo, and we're going to chat a little bit about the organization and the work that they're doing. And I'm stoked because I personally, have been wanting to learn more from you all recently. So I'm excited to have the chance to do that. So Karlie and Lo, do you want to introduce yourselves and then tell us a little bit about the organization for folks who are newer or just hearing about froSkate for the first time?
Yeah. I'm Karlie. I'm the founder of froSkate.
I'm Brew. I'm co-coordinator for Skate.
I can kind of tell you about it too. Just in short, froSkate, we're a skateboarding crew based out of Chicago for the BIPOC community and folks of marginalized genders. So that includes women, non-binary folks, and trans men. We started last year just out of the want of trying to find a community of folks to skate with who looked like you, who we can inspire each other from, and just have comfort in skating with friends. And then it's just grown ever since then from doing initiatives like we've done a protest, we've done meetups, we've done events that cater towards mental health and outreach within the community. And we're just really trying to get the Black and Indigenous and POC community into skating and into being a community with each other.
Yeah, and you touched a little bit about the events that you normally host. Can you tell us a little bit more about like what does that look like, ongoingly? Like what are the types of events that you have coming up, and a little bit more about like how those events look or what you guys have been up to in this year specifically. I know you started last year, but obviously we're in a different time right now. So yeah, we'd just love to hear a little bit more about your events specifically. Like, what does that look like if I showed up at a froSkate event or I'm thinking about coming out to an event?
Yeah. So they definitely have changed a little bit with like this year's COVID and everything. We've definitely decreased in the amount of events that we typically do. Last year, we hosted a meetup every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. At different skate parks. We really wanted to disrupt the skate park scene, which at the time was still very like white cis male. You pull up to a skate park on your own and you don't see anyone who looks like you. So we wanted to create spaces to allow folks to come in and like skate with people who looked like them. So we would have meetups every week on Tuesdays. Now we have meetups maybe like once a month. And we have like more impromptu, very smaller scale meetups as well for folks who are looking for people to skate with. We'll hit each other up, be like, let's skate. And then like we just get together and skate. But besides like the typical meetup, we also host different events. So one of our first events was, I think it was our Halloween fundraiser to try to raise funds for us so we can get legalized, so that we can get people more skateboard decks and gear and shoes and just all the other things that we need funding for. And then we also we've hosted a park cleanup before. We've hosted workshops at local DIY spots on how to build your own skate decks, how to do your own DIY ramps. If you could envision a skate park, your own dream skate park, what would it look like? And then this year, just as me and Lo and the rest of us just being Black and BIPOC individuals, we felt really inclined towards speaking out and using our platform for the current movement, which is the Black Lives Matter movement, and naturally did initiatives where we hosted a food drive. Here in Chicago, when COVID began, a lot of people were losing jobs and a lot of places were being closed down. So that's like grocery stores, that's restaurants, and just places for people to be able to get food and items that they need to survive. So we hosted a big food drive with the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago, where people donated hundreds of food, baby materials, feminine hygiene, etc. for the community. And then we distribute those to the neighborhoods that were in need. And then after that, we did a protest called No Breaks on July 4th, where we were protesting for the defunding of the Chicago police system, which takes up 40% of Chicago's budget overall. And we really want to reallocate the funds from the Chicago Police Department into the community so that they can fund resources that we actually need, like mental health resources and housing and food. We had thousands of people show out for that. It was wild. People who were on skateboards, roller skates, bikes, and then we had speakers from local organizations come and talk about, you know, the statistics behind things, what's going on in their neighborhoods, their experiences with the police. And we really rode to try to make a difference and try to raise attention towards our cause. Brew, you want to kind of like speak to what we've done too a little bit?
Yeah, I got involved in froSkate about a little over a year ago around this time. That was back when we were doing our weekly meetups. And that was a huge factor in not only me finding community, but I know it was for all the people who were there as well. I had been skating by myself for like 4 years. So to finally have a space to like come together was super important, not only for being around people who look like me, who do the same things as me, things that I thought that no one else who looked like me did. It's good for building your confidence. Having a safe space like that is so important, especially just because that's something that I had never had before, something that I never thought I would have. And yeah, so as time went on, COVID hit. Before that and everything, that was during like Halloween parties, Friendsgivings, we were having movie nights, just a lot of stuff to encourage that community building and stuff like that. Give us like positive outlets and space to have fun. And then as time went on, we got more into the social justice side of things. As Karlie said, like we all come from backgrounds that are directly impacted by these issues, so we can't really turn a blind eye to them at all. And with the platform we have as froSkate, it was just like, how could we not speak up, especially with the capability to reach as many people as we've been able to. We did our food drive, and that was incredibly impactful, not only just the action of it, but seeing how many people come out. I think the biggest thing for me in terms of the social justice work we've done is the response of the community. How many people come out for us, how many people so eagerly want to help, and just like what can I do? Like, you know, it was awesome. And we've met so many incredible people through that, with all kinds of talents, from like law to like being bike marshals. Like these are things like we didn't really know. It was our first time planning a protest. So having that support and those people with so many good skills really made it what it turned out to be. And we definitely are continuing those efforts, whether it's through just speaking out on social media or supporting other organizations, donating, all kinds of stuff. It's been really heartwarming, most definitely. Unfortunate circumstances, but very heartwarming and very community gathering.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just seeing you all like being introduced via Instagram and seeing the events and the work and the protests and everything you're doing has been super inspiring. I think, you know, it's easy for a lot of folks to think like it's too big to, you know, try to make change. And, you know, I think that's absolutely not true, especially with some of the tools that we have today. So it's just so inspiring. But Karlie, I wanted to ask you a little bit about, so your background is in advertising and you're an art director, and you're part of a unique program you're telling me about called Ad Color. You know, for some of the folks listening and watching who are in kind of positions of leadership and decision making at brands and events and things like that in our industry, in the action sports industry, can you speak a little bit about maybe some of the gaps that you're seeing in advertising and or marketing in terms of, you know, diversity, inclusion, and or just, you know, our identities in skateboarding, and maybe some of the practices or the things that you would like to see more of that really make a difference, you know, from your view, from your experience?
I could talk to that for like 3 hours. I think like kind of the short answer would be there's an internal issue and then there's external issues, or internal areas for improvement and external areas for improvement. Um, I guess internally, there's issues with the representation of diversity and inclusion within all industries, and also in action and sports industries as well. And that stems from the employee base, you know. So what does your diversity quota look like in your company? Is it majority white men? Is it majority, or is your diversity majority white women? You know, so it's like taking a look at your numbers and not only just trying to make a better effort to hire BIPOC staff, especially Black and Indigenous staff, but also making sure that when you are hiring, you're hiring them because you think you're talented. You're hiring them because they are going to be a great voice and representation of the reason of which you are hiring them for. So whether that's to be representative of the Black community or the LGBTQIA community, or one of that part of the LGBTQIA community. And also making sure that you're training them, you're bringing them in and you're mentoring them all the way through. You know, they're not just coming in and being thrown to the wolves. You know, you're hiring them because your company has had an issue with being, you know, too white. So they're coming into a company and having to do the emotional labor of trying to help your company be more diverse, and that takes a lot of effort, and those people do deserve to be compensated for that emotional labor that they have to endure by being thrown into your company. That also looks like not just hiring in mass, but taking a look at the current employees that you currently do have that are Black, Indigenous, and people of color. It's taking, you know, it's taking anonymous surveys from your current employees to see how they feel in the workplace, see what their experiences have been. Have they experienced racism from a certain person that you might need to reevaluate? And I say anonymous because a lot of people don't want to speak up to your face about their experience because they could risk losing their job. So it's really important to get those there's surveys from all of your employees to be able to really know what you need to change within your actual company, and then actually make those changes. A lot of employees who are BIPOC might be considering leaving the company because it has had an issue with being so white, but once they see that you're willing to try to make those changes within the company, they're willing to stay. And I can't remember what stat that's from, but I remember reading it once, and there's like, it's an increasing number of people who are willing to stay at the company that they're already with if they know that they're willing to change their internal issues. It's promoting people who are already within your company to higher positions, to the leadership team. Is your leadership team way too white? Maybe reevaluate the talent you're probably overlooking within your company already, so that you don't have to retrain new people all the time to come in and be a leader. And that's like kind of like the short answer for how to internally help D&I within your industry, but also externally when you're partnering with more BIPOC individuals. It's especially for, I want to say like towards product. It's not so much just like giving them, and we were just talking about this yesterday, it's not just giving them products and asking them to make sponsored posts for, you know, their Instagram or for your Instagram. It's about building meaningful connections with people that you're partnering with. Do you really believe in like what they stand for? And if so, does it have to be public all the time? My most valuable partnerships come from me being able to text people from different companies and being like, hey, we've got this event coming up. Is there anything you think that your company can do? And they're like, oh, here's some money, here's some shoes, here's some like drinks, here's like, what do you need from us? And then like, they'll send that and I don't have to post anything about their involvement. It's just a pure and genuine relationship because they actually care about our mission and what we would like to be doing. And yeah, like just continuing to try to partner with more BIPOC staff on commercials, on representation within ads, or reposting their videos, reposting their events, reaching out to them, asking how you can help them, and just be that real, genuine partner.
Yeah, that's so awesome. Like, I mean, I also think just the authenticity of a partnership does shine through to people watching, people buying, people showing up when it's real and it's like this brand truly has, you know, my organization's back. And I also acknowledge and respect and appreciate and I'm grateful for what this brand is providing in terms of resources, then it that people get it, you know, people see that and they start to also say, hey, like, you know what, you know, like I'm down for that brand because I know that they're making things happen that make a difference in my life. So yeah, thank you, Karlie, for sharing that insight. Lo, I want to switch it up to you and ask you a little bit more about, you know, just your experience from going from like a participant, like someone who started skating, and now is organizing and is a leader in the community, both like where you all are based in Chicago, but also, you know, Instagram, like a lot of people are following you all. Um, can you speak to, you know, just in that journey, what are some of the gaps that you saw in your own experiences, you know, in either being able to participate or not being able to participate, or barriers, you know, that you experienced along the way in becoming a skateboarder and, you know, someone who's you know, making things happen in the community?
Mhm. I think the biggest thing for me has definitely been seeing people who look like me doing really incredible things. Um, Initially, before when I started skating, I half did so because I had never seen another Black girl skate, whether it was in real life or on TV or on social media. And I see that all the time now, not only just because of the crew. That definitely is the biggest aspect though, but I see more pro skaters. I see just folks on Instagram who post clips, things I never saw before. Um, and I say that because representation is so important in terms of recognizing or feeling what you can and cannot do. Um, I kind of think about it as like being given a question and having like a multiple choices to choose from, but then like having something that you actually want not even be that option. Um, and so it's like, how are these people supposed to feel like they can do these incredible things if they've never seen anyone who looks like them doing it? Um, Karlie's actually one of my biggest inspirations just because I genuinely feel like next to like my big sister, I had never really seen another Black woman who was like really killing it. And that's upsetting to say just because we should all be able to see Black women who are at the top doing incredible things and be able to see ourselves in them. Um, but I see it now and it's way better like late than never, but I do wish it could have come a little bit earlier. But now I feel like it can come earlier for younger Black and brown women. And it plays a big role in feeling like you have a place, as well as recognizing that there's just so much more that you're capable of than the box that the world always tends to put us in. It's been a really difficult journey, not only as a Black woman, but as a queer Black woman, finding or trying to find myself or trying to see myself in the world. But a lot of times you kind of end up just having to be that person that you never see, especially for those people who are younger. I think about younger generations all the time because I really love kids and they're the future. So a big part of everything that I want to do has a lot to do with inspiring the younger generations and giving them all of the things that I didn't have or that our community hasn't had, so that they can dig into themselves a lot more. It opens the world up a lot when you can kind of like stop thinking about everything you're not allowed to do and realize all the things that are possible. And yeah, I think as far as my experience skating, a lot of times you kind of have to be ushered into the skating scene. And I know I was, and I know Karlie was, but a lot of that has to do with knowing people who skate, and it also has to do with having the accessibility to, whether it be the equipment or having access to skate parks. And even then, it's like, in the beginning of my experience, showing up to skate parks was like the most uncomfortable experience for me ever. I already know it is for many people, especially beginners. But when you show up and you're kind of like the exact opposite of what people think of when they think of a skater, which is typically a cis white male, and I'm over here being like a queer Black woman, and I'm getting like stared at, and I'm a newbie, so I'm kind of like not sure what I'm doing. It was really, really difficult. It took a lot of me having to get out of my head. It took a lot of me overcoming anxieties and fears, and I I think my confidence just really surged when I met froSkate, because I wasn't alone anymore, and we were able to show up to the parks in masses. And so it wasn't like just me who was the only Black woman there. It was like a ton of us, and a lot of us were new, so there was like no fear of, not really being sure what I'm doing. And my confidence, like, just it really skyrocketed, both inside the skate park and outside of it, just because I felt like I finally had the space to be exactly who I am and not be ashamed of it or not feel like I have to hide it or anything, because I was seeing it now. It was like right in front of me. I was surrounded by it. And that was something I had never had before.
What would you like to put out there in the world so people can partner or join or contribute, and share with us, what you're up to, the big picture?
Our biggest goal, like obviously, is to increase diversity within skate culture. And that comes from us being able to do what we're doing times like 10. So it's growing our company to be able to like pay people like Lo a great salary, or people who are helping us and spending time with us to be able to receive compensation for their time. We would like to expand beyond Chicago, whether that's not only just like supporting chapters in different states, but also providing spaces for folks to be able to skate and come together. We would love to be like that amazing like Black woman-owned skate brand that's being able to like maybe sponsor skaters or like help skaters across the world with building their own skate parks, or donating, large amounts of materials and shoes to people who are in Jamaica skating, people who are in Tanzania skating. Like, we would love to just be able to be that light for others as well. Yeah, I mean, like, we want to bring more representation into skateboarding in the community, and we want to bring more people into skating as well who live in the South and West sides. You kind of mentioned earlier that skating is fun. Skating is an outlet for folks who may not have anything else to turn to, who suffer from anxiety or depression or things that are going on at home, and they need something to distract themselves from it. So by implementing things like skate parks or skateboards in Black and Brown communities, you're opening up a whole new world for people. So we want to be able to continue to do that. We want our own indoor and outdoor skate parks, starting off in Chicago and in different areas around the world. We want to increase our brand, come out with skateboards. So all that fun stuff requires money. It requires legal assistance. It requires amplification of our voice. And, I talk about this all the time, that money is a great way to help us. But another great way to help us is to offer your services, to offer your skills, connecting us with people who you think can help our dreams become true, whether it's folks who own property and they might have some advice for us, whether it's legal assistance or people who are really good at filling out for grants. And just like, if you have a talent that you think could help us, that's almost more valuable than just like throwing us some money and being like, here, So I'd say like connecting us as well and reaching out.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much, Karlie and Lo. Huge shout out to froSkate. I know there's other folks behind the scenes also volunteering, contributing, showing up. It is truly an inspiring community. I'm excited to learn from both of you, so thank you for sharing your knowledge today. And definitely follow froSkate. Reach out if you're called to do so, as Karlie had mentioned. There'll be links and everything in the conference. So just thank you all so much for continuing to be that possibility model for so many of us, and we'll see you soon.